Davis. Fires it in the upper 90. Rushes three. Flacco steps up, throws deep, far sideline to Colby Jones. Has it at the 20. To Colby Jones. Touchdown, Ravens.
Right next to me is saying it. You may hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. The heavyweight.
In your life have you seen anything like that?
The 2-1 pitch. Swung on and drilled deep to right field. Going back, Ramirez looking up. See ya! Home run off the facing of the right field upper deck. And the Yankees have come all the way back.
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
Misfires, passes across the shot. They score! Can you believe it? My goodness!
Welcome, everyone, to Dan's Winners and Dinners, a little, what I hope to be a weekly podcast here that just really nothing serious, just wanting to talk about gambling and maybe some food reviews and different recipes at different times. And thank you for this opportunity to just kind of sharpen my teeth on this as I learn a new format of engaging and speaking to folks. And I want to give a big thank you to a good friend here of probably 30, 40, 45 years, Andy Canterna. Going to add him to the stage here. And
hey, buddy. How are you?
All right, Andy. How are you?
I'm good, my friend.
All right. I just want to give again, I was just saying to everyone, thank you for that intro video. Great work on that. And also just a big thanks for walking me through all this and how to get this figured out. This really kind of the genesis of all this has been just I love posting about sports gambling, and that has morphed into people sending me text messages, sending me messages on Facebook, asking how to go about doing it because they want to get into it. They look at it as kind of like the stock market, but they don't know how to begin, and they think there's some kind of like bad aura if you say you're into sports gambling. So it's almost like a little secret thing, even though there's really no reason there should be. And Andy's kind of been my little bit of a guinea pig, walking him through different things, sharing stories. And a couple folks, I don't know if they're on yet, but a high school friend from South Carolina that's dabbled into it. And we've actually won some good money doing it. But the nice thing is now, today, even if it's, quote, not legal in your state, with the what are called trading markets like Poly Market or Kalshi, you basically can bet legally in your state, regardless of what state you live in. So again, just thank you for taking some time on a Monday night. And also thank you for probably some hiccups that I'll be doing audio visually here. But we're going to start off with questions of a new gambler. So I know there's a lot of folks out there, like I said, that have texted, asked me questions throughout the months in the last couple of years about different things. And Andy really is kind of the poster child for all those questions. So I'm going to fire it out to you, Andy, and ask any questions you have. And if there's folks that are on here listening, hopefully they have the same types of questions and I'll be able to answer them for you.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm sure the people want to see your beautiful mug up close and personal. So you can click that there. Yep. There you go. And you can do the split screen so we can see and everything in the background.
That way we can see both our beautiful mugs.
There's an option for that. You're going to be a pro at this in like 5 minutes. There we go. We got two of them. But anyway, I got
And this is not hot or not, because I will lose that since Andy has a real goatee and I still have a prepubescent something going on there.
You're getting there. It looks good. Now I was getting chills with that Jets goal on the intro, and now I'm watching this season as they're tanking it from President's Cup trophy down 2-0 in the second. They're killing me this year, but there's always hope. You never know. But speaking of Jets, if I wanted to bet on the Jets tonight, it'll take me into some questions for you. So I think the first thing that I think about when I think about online gambling, which as a novice, and I get worried, is what are the best and most reliable apps you would suggest a new person who's getting into gambling use first? Because I know there's a lot out there, a lot to choose from. Your particular point of view, you've been doing this a while. What would you recommend a new person go to first? What's the app or choice?
So for somebody new who doesn't really want to risk a lot, I would say stick with the kind of like big box type apps that are out there, which are your FanDuels, your BetMGMs, your Bet365s. They're reputable, they're legitimate, they give fast payouts. You don't have to worry about any like overseas offshore type things where you're putting your credit cards or your PayPal into a country you might not have ever heard of, and you don't know if you're ever going to get payment back. The other nice thing about that when you're dabbling in there is the FanDuels, the BetMGMs, the DraftKings of the world. As a new gambler, they're going to give you a lot of, and I use a lot loosely, but they will give you, free bets. They'll match your initial deposit with 100% free bets. They'll also, refer a friend. Likewise, if I give you a code, I'll receive free bets, you'll receive free bets. And it's just, the interface is very user-friendly and not intimidating at all.
And what was the first one you used? What was the very first one before Winners and Dinners came? What was your first online
I popped my cherry with FanDuel.
FanDuel. All right, there we go. Yep. Nice. All right, very good. All right, that would be all right. My second type of question for just a basic online gambler. How do I read the betting odds, like the money line, point spreads, things like? Can you go over a little bit of that for me and everybody else who's kind of a novice at this?
Yes, let me, as I get used to, let me do a little share my screen. And I'm going to pull up a website, which this is also a nice informative way, but it's also a nice site. Anytime you're going to place a bet, this site, which is covers.com, and can you see that on your end here?
Not yet. Let's see if we can. If you hit share screen, you should be able to. It'll give you a list of things you can pull up.
Yep, and that's. Let me try this again. Oh, add to stage.
There you go. Perfect.
All right. So here, you had asked, what are some sites to use? And I rattled off FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM. If you go to covers.com, which there is a paid service for that, but you really don't need that. The free service, when you initially log in, it's going to list all of the current spreads for each one of these sites. And that's another key thing as a beginning gambler. You want to shop around and find the best value that you can get for your bet. And what I mean by that is when you place a bet, if it's around a minus 100 or plus 100, that means it's an even money bet. So if you bet $25, I'll just do everything in increments of 25. But a lot of these sites, your minimum bets can be 50 cents. Your maximum bets can be to the moon. So if you bet $25 and it's plus or minus 100, that means it's an even money bet. The further away you get from that plus 100, you see like minus 104, minus 105. You see these are all pretty much the same point spreads for over-unders, 44, 44 and a half. But if you go to Caesars, you're not going to get as much of a return as if you were to go to Bet365. Now, it seems minimal, minus 105 to minus 107. But when you get into this, those little 2 cents here and there, especially if you do more than $25, really does begin to add up. So what you're going to want to do, you'll see this Tampa Bay. This is for next Saturday's game. This is a win and in playoff game. You have Tampa Bay minus 2.5. So what that means is Tampa Bay has to win by 2.5 points. Disregard that minus 122 for the moment. So again, you want to look at the open column. This means when the game was first announced, there's that opening spread that came out. It opened up at -4. That meant Vegas was saying Tampa Bay has to win they will win by 4 points. As the days have gone on since that spread came out, a lot of money from professional gamblers and amateur gamblers like you and me has brought it down. So people are putting money on Carolina. So if you think that Tampa Bay is going to win, you'll want to wait a few more days because that spread keeps going down. If you think Carolina is going to win, you're going to want to hop in now and get that plus 2.5 because pretty soon it might be a pick 'em. Now you'll see the number associated with it with an O. That means over under. So that's the total points that you think are going to be scored in the game. Total combined points from these two teams. If you think it's going to be more than 44.5, you would take the over. If you think it's going to be less than 44, you would take the under. And again, you can shop at all these different markets to see your spread.
And what are your thoughts on this game? When you're in, what are your thoughts? Who are you taking?
My thoughts on this are I like Carolina because Tampa Bay is very reminiscent of the Eagles 2 years ago, where when the wheels came off, they just could not do a thing right. And Tampa Bay, the wheels are coming off, and I just really don't foresee them getting any better. And Carolina, we're going to be doing a little thing in a few minutes called Flawed or Fraud, meaning does the team maybe good, but they have a little bit of a flaw, whether it's their offense or defense, or are they just a straight up fraud? And Carolina, I think, is flawed. Tampa Bay, I think, is an absolute fraud. I would go with Carolina. And if you go with the point spread, you're getting 2.5 points. So again, what that means is Carolina wins, you win. Carolina loses by no more than 2, you win as well.
I like it. Although I got a soft spot for Baker Mayfield. Anybody who survived the depths of the Cleveland Browns has a soft spot for me. So we'll
and some of those commercials that he did as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm actually looking forward to that segment. All right, one more question for you in regards to that.
Fire away.
Tell us about a parlay. Tell me a little bit about how many different games you had to pick to officially make it a parlay, and how far can you take it?
All right, so this is again. Little thing to think about when you're gambling. You don't want to bet with your heart, and you want to stick with your initial instinct. You don't want to listen to things and have them sway your opinion. And I'm going to share my screen once again. I'm going to pull up a different site here. I'm going to literally pull up FanDuel, and it's making me log back in. So just one moment here. And a little bit of a story. So I mentioned a friend of mine from high school that follows, puts the bets in, and we've had a pretty good run of it lately. So what him and I do is we start with like $10 and we roll it over, and we try to hit a particular set amount, whether it's 500, whether it's 1,000, whether it's 250, then we reset it. So today I had 3 or 4 people call me and say, who do you like in the game tonight? I said, take Atlanta. The Rams, even though they say they're going to play for something, they really are not going to play for anything because they're pretty much locked into the 5 seed. They don't want to get anybody hurt. They'll go through the motions. Atlanta will win. Fast forward, I go to put the parlay in for my buddy and I. We were up to $161, and we were going for a goal of 500. listened to a couple different radio shows, and they kept talking about the Rams were going all out tonight, and there was a chance that they might get the 6th seed, and they didn't want to risk that. They want the 5 seed, which the 5 seed means they would play the winner of that Tampa Bay Carolina game, which is pretty much going to be a walkover game come the playoffs. What do? I listened to them. Didn't listen to all my research that I did. I put the Rams on the parlay. And the score right now, as I look over at the TV, Atlanta 14, Rams nothing. So always go with your first instinct. So back to your question, Andy, what a parlay is. A parlay is combining 2 or more games, 2 or more legs. Now, a leg in betting vernacular is a particular bet that you take. So let's say both teams to score in the Capitals Panthers. Yes, that's 1 leg. This is a 7-leg parlay. We had LSU. Looks like they're going to win easy. We have Alabama. Looks like they're going to win easy. We have Oklahoma City Thunder. They're down by 4, but in the NBA, it really doesn't matter till the last 2 minutes.
You got this on your screen?
Is this on your Rams?
Share that screen if you had. Do you share that? Do you have it up?
Oh, yes.
So we can see those beautiful bets here.
All right, and that's what I need to continue to remember to do.
There you go. All right, so this is all right. There's the Thunder. There's the Rams.
All right, so right here, this is a 7-leg parlay.
Wow.
And 7 legs minus 136. We started this with $10 over the last 4 or 5 days. We've gotten it up to 161.38. You'll see right here, I pretty much have the same one. One's for him, one's for me. As I was saying earlier, before I didn't have the screen shared here, we had both teams to score, Washington, Florida. Now, one thing I want to point out, you see this minus 1,400. We talked about how minus 100 means it's an even money bet. The greater this number is, so minus 1,400, minus 4,500, that means they are very, very, very heavy favorites to win. Parlays are really sucker bets. They're stupid, but I enjoy them, and I do like taking heavy favorites and combining them to try to get close to even money or thereabouts. As I was saying, we have Alabama. That looks like it's going to be a winner. This Oklahoma City Atlanta game is close, but the NBA really doesn't matter until the 4th quarter. This Rams game is going to be the one that I know kills me, and that's going to be, I broke my own rule. Go with your gut instinct. Do your research. Don't switch at the last minute. I switched at the last minute. I'm in a 14-point hole right now.
Mm-hmm.
So parlays are fun, but in the grand scheme of things, they really are a dumb bet. You really want to stick to single leg bets.
Okay, now for us wild dreamers here, I have this thing where I don't like to bet for my own teams I root for because it always kind of, I'm thinking with my heart, not my head. But let's just say for the purpose of this, in-game betting.
Yep.
Here's a great example. Edmonton's now up 2-0 going into the 3rd period. If I put money on Winnipeg now, I'm assuming my return would get much bigger because the odds are much further apart. How do I find out an in-game bet line? Like, how do I find out on some things I can do in the moment if I just want to keep things interesting while I'm watching a game?
Yep. So on FanDuel here, I'm going to click on NHL. Now, is this coming over on your screen?
Yep. Seeing it perfect.
Okay. All right. So let's go down to Edmonton, Winnipeg. Winnipeg is plus 750. So if you want to, for sake of easy math, let's say you wanted to do $10 on Winnipeg, how much are you going to get back? Well, how much are you going to win?
You tell me. This is your show.
Try to be a little teacher student here. It's plus 750. So if you wanted to place $10, you simply click on that plus 750. Wager $10. You're going to win 75.
Okay.
And what you will actually get back, this is an important thing because a lot of folks get confused by this. you will get 85 back. You're going to get your original wager back because you won.
And then you get
and that's what you're winning.
Got it. Okay.
If you lose, you're losing your $10.
Could
So now
keep
let's say you wanted to be a little, you got the football game going on. You really have a diehard feeling on the Jets. You take the Jets. You go down to football. You say, you know what, that fat bald guy, he said you should take the Rams, but he backtracked. He took the Falcons. Falcons are winning, but I think the Rams are going to come back. If you were to take them, 2-leg parlay, $10, you're going to get $190 back. It's risky, but it's a nice return.
Not a bad return. So do you ever do that? Do you because I think about the NFL. Baseball scares me at any time, just because if a pitcher gets hot, it's almost a fool's bet in baseball. But I mean, football, when you have some powerhouse teams, especially I'm thinking like a college game, I'm assuming if the underdog were to score first and then you put money on, the odds just dip a little bit more in the favor of the underdog winning the game, or probably reverse it. You see what I'm trying to say? If you wait for another team to score first, does it actually help you if you have a good feeling that a strong team is going to come back?
Yeah. So I actually, a buddy of mine, I used to hate soccer with a passion, except for the World Cup. I've always loved the World Cup. Buddy of mine that is actually going to be reigned in about 2 hours, the Herbst Fantasy Football League, which is in its 26th year. He's going to be the 2025 Herbst Fantasy Football League champion this year. He's a Bucknell Hall of Famer for soccer. Got me into soccer actually during the pandemic, telling me just different strategies. I never realized like every team had their own identity and had different strategies. So I bring that story up because I now like betting on soccer. Again, I like taking favorites, but I'm going to pull this back up. Can you still see the screen here?
Sure can.
So I'm going to go to soccer. I'm going to show you let's say you have a team, you gave that scenario, a team you liked, let's say a favorite. You can go. This is Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Let's say I like Chelsea, but I think, you know what? I take the favorite. Soccer is so weird. Always seems like the underdog scores first. You can bet who will score first, team to score the first goal. You can take Chelsea on the money line because you think they're going to win, but as a way to hedge your bet and maybe double dip, take Bournemouth to score first. You kind of hope they score first, and Chelsea comes back and wins the game, and you win both.
I like it.
All kinds of strategies. Another thing I like to do with soccer is, and this has been very profitable, is you'll see no goals plus 2,000. So if you were to put $10 down, you would get 200 back. But you go down and you do over under a half goal in the game. Minus 6,000. You bundle a few of these together. You wait till halftime. If they haven't scored, then you throw a bet down on the under a half goal to be scored. Nice little way to hedge and eke out a little tiny bit of a profit each day.
I like it.
And so we're just going to go back, and I think that Hawks game was at halftime, but let's just check and see if there's been any change in that. So you didn't bring this up in a roundabout way, but I'm going to mention it. So we talked about you have a bet and you begin to think, you know what, that was stupid. It's going to cost me. It's called hedging your bet. So for full transparency here, when I saw this Rams game was not going the way I had hoped, I placed a hedge for also a little bit of a talking point here. Atlanta Falcons, $50 at plus 242 at the time. So would get 171 back. So that's a profit of 121. Now you'll say, but your bet was 162 to get 282 back. But remember, 3-4 days ago, I started with $10. So all in all, even if this loses, but the Falcons win, that $10, I will profit at $120. Did that make sense, or was that confusing?
Some of it made perfect sense. Some of it was a little bit over my head, but I'm getting there. I'm absorbing here, Dan. This is good. I like it.
All right. So, and next question that you have.
Well, I was hoping to talk a little football. How are we looking on that fraud?
Right.
Let's see.
So,
that segment ready to go? Or did you upload that one?
Let's see here.
These are teas. It's them up.
Right, so I'm going to remove this.
There you go.
And
what's next? The anticipation.
If I pull that up, you know what?
That one you can pull that one right into StreamYard.
Present or invite here. Video file. See, it's all about learning curves there, Andrew.
So I will walk you through this StreamYards piece since you walked me through all that. Over and where you were going to pull the intro videos in, go ahead and just pull that little there you go. Flawed or fraud. I like it.
Flawed or fraud.
So this could be any sports teams, right?
This can be any sports theme, and this is a key part of gambling when you begin to put together, who you're going to take. The other thing is you do not want to just make a bet on a whim. You don't want to do it out of boredom. You don't want to do it because you're just trying to kill time. If you really want to be profitable, you got to do your research, and you got to take a look at, great example, as we talk about futures. You know what? Let me just pull back up the FanDuel here. And can you see that?
You can see it.
All right. So Super Bowl winners. You'll see here, this is a list of all the teams that are either in the playoffs, or we have a couple make or break games this weekend to determine who will be in and who will be out. You'll see these odds range from plus 550 all the way down to plus 12,500. So the flawed or fraud segment is a key way to take a look in doing your research. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up here as I get a little, try to get better at this thing here. Add a file.
You're doing great at this, like you've been doing it for years.
All right, let me see here. Actually, let me see if I share my screen here. All right, how is that? Can you see the flawed or fraud?
No, not just see you and me right now.
All right, so it hasn't been for years. It's more like I've been doing this for a couple minutes. There we go.
There you go. Oh, look, that's perfect. I like it. All right, good.
All right, so let me enlarge this here. So we have all those odds. There are 14 teams in the playoffs. You obviously are not going to put money on every single team, or you would probably end up not winning any money. So the key here is to determine which teams you think have a legitimate shot to win, which teams are just fraudulent and you would just be pissing your money away like it's going to a Minnesota Somalian daycare center. So we have two categories here, flawed and fraud. I have all the teams listed. Steelers, do you agree, Andy? This is where I want your input as an NFL fan as well.
All right. Well, can we see all the teams here? Let me scroll down. Let me see all of your teams real quick. There we
I've
go.
also included the Ravens.
I want to make sure we realize that. There we go. Because I think there's two very flawed teams in Baltimore and Pittsburgh since they're playing for all the marbles next week. I don't like either team that much. I will say I think the Ravens, and I'm from Baltimore, saying despite the crazy Winnipeg fascination.
Where did that come from, by the way?
All right, well, so quick sidebar. I'll tell you this story, but here's the deal with the Jets and anything else that may seem like I love the Montreal Expos and stuff like that. It's not so much a Canadian thing as when you are born and raised in Baltimore. There's a couple things. You have to like Maryland steamed crabs. You have to embrace your flag because it's cooler than the other 49. But then you have to hate everything from Washington, D.C., and that includes their sports team. So I did not like the Redskins. I did not like the Capitals. And there was no baseball team at the time, but if there was, I wouldn't have liked them either. So D.C. does not feel the same way about Baltimore, by the way. They could care less about us, but that's okay. We have this thing. It's just a little chip on our shoulder. And so I would have to watch those games that came on the weekends. And I didn't like the Wizards either because we used to be the Baltimore Bullets. That was gone too. So they took all these things from us. So anyway, I was like, nope, it's going to be, if it's not a Baltimore team, which at the time was only the Orioles because the Colts had left in the Mayflower by the cover of night. All I had was the O's. So I was a huge Dolphins fan because I fell in love with Dan Marino watching him play when I was a kid because I just thought he's the greatest. Oh, the Duper brothers, Clayton and Duper. I thought they were great. If he had any type of defense, my God, I think he's better than Joe Montana.
What are they called? The highlight markers? Is that what they were called?
The Marx brothers.
Brothers, that's right.
They were unreal. But then I remember I would watch the NHL games that came on the weekends. And I remember watching the Winnipeg Jets play when a rookie from Finland, Teemu Selanne, was out there on the ice and was like, oh my God, is he fast? And those uniforms were cool. And I got chills just watching the place. Like at the time they were all dressed in white. It was a home game in Winnipeg. And I was like, that's my team because I didn't like the Caps. And although I didn't get to see them much, that was my team. Then they moved like the Colts did to Arizona. I was like, well, there goes another one of my teams. Like the Expos moved and all these things. And they came back when the Thrashers went back to Winnipeg. I've been watching them since the Jets 2.0 came out in 2011 and have been it's reinvigorated my spirit for hockey. So there's my long-winded story about
I love it. And for folks that are listening, I'm a diehard Flyers fan. I never knew until actually Andy told me the story probably 5 or 6 years ago. The Flyers were originally going to be a Baltimore team, but there was a kind of a land disagreement issue, and Ed Snyder decided to bring them up to Philadelphia, which is actually really cool. If you Google that story or Wikipedia, that story, it's really cool.
But yeah, the Baltimore arena was so outdated even before it was constructed, because this is blueprints we're talking here, submitted, and they're like, hey, we're going to have an arena here, because the Baltimore arena is just not a great place to see sports, period. They were slated to have the NHL team. NHL was like, nah, I think we're going to go with Philly on this one because you don't have the proper, even though it's coming, and that was coming, they were like, no, this is just not going to be the right spot for a team. So we lost it before we even opened our doors to the arena and had the Baltimore Skipjacks. That was our team. We had an AHL team there for a while that played. But we do love our sports. When they come here, we love them. We love them hard. We love the Orioles. It's been a lot of years of agony and pain with them. But the Ravens have been more disappointing because on paper, that is one heck of a good team. And they really are. And I like Harbaugh. I think it's time for him to probably test the waters somewhere else because his clock management, some of these calls, the fact that 2 weeks ago against the Pats, he didn't run Henry for almost 13 minutes when the game was on. I mean, it kind of, his decision-making blows my mind. So I think the Ravens can actually go, they could make a little noise in the playoffs. I think they're a better team than Pittsburgh, but Lamar has been soft this year. Harbaugh's play calling's been terrible. And we just don't have the edge. We don't have the pass rushers on the edge, I think, that can make enough noise. I think we can beat Pittsburgh and get in. I don't think we can make a lot of noise. So once we get in, just because I think the combination of our defense, and let's be honest, Lamar doesn't play great under the lights. He's not good in January. I miss the January goat, the elite dragon, Joe Flacco. That is my guy, ice in his veins. So I'm going to say both Pittsburgh and Baltimore are frauds.
I like it. So therefore, you would not want to put money on them. And
No.
Don't you find that in the NFL, like people were busting my chops yesterday. They said, who do you like? I said, take the Browns. They're like, what? The Browns are one of the worst teams in the league. I said, dude, 3 things. Myles Garrett is a beast. He will disrupt. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but what's sexier TV than the Ravens Steelers on national TV game to decide who wins the division?
Not going to argue
What you want, but sometimes calls go a certain way that seem to favor next week's games, and that just seemed to be the case. And no DK Metcalf, so that was actually, I think, one of the easier ones. And I agree with you. I think Baltimore wins and gets into the playoffs. So going to get back here to the screen. So we both agree, Steelers and Ravens. Chargers, no offensive line. Not bad other than that, but when you get into defense, into the playoffs with those heavy defenses, you're not going to be able to not have an offensive line. Buffalo, we saw what a fraud. They can't kick the ball. No defense. Josh Allen's pretty much a one-man machine. I know I'm going to tick off a lot of my Buffalo fans, but it is what it is. Green Bay, they're going to be one and done. Buccaneers, I don't even think they're going to make it, but I put them on there. And the Broncos may very well end up being the 1 seed and may very well end up losing in the divisional round. Bo Nix is a fraud. Their defense has been lackluster the last few weeks. And if you really dig deep into their schedule, their defense numbers are propped up because of the teams they've been playing. Las Vegas a couple times. I think the Jets, the Giants, just not been good. So now 14 teams you can bet on. We've eliminated 2, 4, 6, 7 of them. Flawed. These teams. And you know what I just realized? I forgot to put on here. The Philadelphia Eagles under fraud.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
I'm a diehard Eagles fan, but one of the key lessons in gambling you will learn is do not bet with your heart. You got to bet with your eyes, bet with your brain. The Eagles are 11-5. If it weren't for 2 lucky special teams plays where they blocked kicks, they'd be 9-7, which is basically a 500 team. So I'm putting them under fraud for this year, but they'll be back next year. So now we've narrowed that field down to, there's 7 listed here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 8. Carolina, they're not a fraud because they've been playing phenomenally better than they should have this year. They have flaws, but we're not going to seriously consider them. So see ya, Panther. Now we're down to the Patriots, the Rams, 49ers, Bears, Seahawks, Jacksonville. So what are your thoughts on these teams, Andrew?
Well, I kind of like New England right now in the AFC. I don't know what your thoughts are on them, but
Damn good coach, probably best coach in the league.
I think so too. I think they finally they didn't have to wait long for a good quarterback to come along. And I think that the poise he's showing already is pretty impressive. My daughter's in the basement watching the Jets game. It came back 2-1. You never know. I should have put
that bet in.
Oh, there we go. Was that Jonathan Taze?
I think that's Lowry.
Oh, good. All right, the captain scored. But yeah, so I kind of like New England right now. I think they've got a pretty good shot. Stephon Diggs is solid. Their defense, they have legitimate speed on defense and some good corners. I feel like they can make some noise. So I think I agree with you. I think Denver is a fraud. I think strength of schedule was in their favor. I do think that even though we said fraud, I don't like to count Josh Allen out just because he's kind of got that
Moxie.
He does. He's got a little swag in the postseason, and I like that. So I don't know, but I'll go with you for right now. I think New England is my bet for the AFC as the top team to come out.
So here's a question for you, since you're a sports fan. I said Josh Allen has that moxie. One of the best high school football movies ever made, the quarterback was Jonathan Moxon. Do you know that movie?
The Varsity Blues?
Yes, you are correct. I won't say the other best part of that film, since there's a
for all college aged guys who now are age, if you want to watch the 2.0 version, Allie Laurie's in Landman, which is a fantastic show on Paramount.
I was going to say that, and her daughter, and that is basically what she was in Varsity Blues.
So it's kind of funny, and Billy Bob Thornton's fantastic. It's a good show. So, but yeah, I like the Jacksonville. What are your thoughts on Jacksonville?
So I have made a prediction on another site. It was $15. It was 8-1 that the division Super Bowl teams would be the NFC West versus the AFC South. And what that means is just a team from the AFC South has to play a team from the NFC West. Doesn't matter what team, just as long as they're from those respective divisions. And you got a winner chicken dinner.
All right. I like it.
I think Jacksonville, good defense.
I still don't
under the radar. Trevor Lawrence is.
I still don't know if I trust Trevor Lawrence. He's got Jacoby Myers, Brian Thompson Jr. He's got some people to throw to. They have a solid offense. I just don't know if I don't know if I trust him yet. I think he's got to prove himself to me, and they give up a lot of penalties. So that's the only. But they're a team that could make some noise. Let's put it that way. So
those are actually my notes for
Seattle.
For Seattle, can't trust Sam Darnold.
Another quarterback you gotta kind of like a little bit, because if you don't want to play quarterback for the Browns, the worst second place is probably the Jets, New York Jets, that is. So poor Darnold, another place where quarterbacks go to die. Even Aaron Rodgers, it was just a bad place. So
can't trust Lawrence.
Can't trust Lawrence and can't trust Darnold. We'll see.
So now you see what's happening here, Andrew. We're getting down to.
We're narrowing it down a little bit, huh?
We're narrowing it down a little bit. Now we go to Houston, probably the best defense in the whole field.
Yep.
Do you trust their offense?
Well, I don't know. I like Stroud a lot. I think that kid's got a lot of poise for his age. I think he's going to be good for a long time.
And their running back is solid. Mark.
Yeah, that's I actually think that's another team that could end up playing against New England to see who's going to go to the Super Bowl, because that's a solid team right there.
Let's call that viable betting worthy.
So yeah, I don't know. I like him. I do. I was. You're right. The defense, it can win you games, especially now in an offense-happy league where ticky-tack calls are all the time, stuff like that. You have to have a pretty legit defense. I mean, look, say what you will. Pittsburgh's not great, but they're not a slouch. The only reason they won that game yesterday was because they rode the backs of a really, really good defense in Cleveland with Myles Garrett, who I was hoping to get that sack. But
have you seen all the memes going around? It's pretty funny. It's
about
hanging a banner at the whatever they call that Pittsburgh Stadium. I'll always call it Three Rivers.
The old Heinz.
Yeah, the old Heinz, and it says
already
banner like they won the division, but it says to not allow Myles Garrett. to get the sack.
Oh yeah, was that and then another celebrating another? It's okay if we don't go anywhere as long as I got another winning season because that was Tommy.
Yeah.
So, it guaranteed him at least a winning season. So, but yeah, defense matters. Houston's got a good one and one that could disrupt May if they do end up facing New England late. So there's, I don't know. I think they're legitimate. I think they're legit.
And I'll tell you, I think those Bears, I hate to admit it, I'm not a big Caleb Williams fan, but dude, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Lord knows they're winning some lucky games, but they can run the ball. They got a solid defense.
I think their defense they're inconsistent. They're not great. They can generate some turnovers. They have a lot of penalty issues. I think the Bears are more of a fraud. But you can prove me wrong on that one.
Hell of a game last night, though, between these two teams.
Yeah, I'm not sold yet on Chicago, but we'll see.
That defense is.
Now I like LA. What are your thoughts on LA?
Well, I'm not liking them tonight, but.
I know.
I'm going to beat a dead horse and say if I would have stuck to my gut, it wouldn't have mattered. But I think they would be in first place if it wasn't for the referees because the referees influenced that game against Seattle. What was that last week?
Houston.
A few weeks ago, the Rams could have won that game.
That's right.
I think they're solid. Good receiving, MVP quarterback, damn good defense, good coach.
Yeah, I like, and let's be honest, it's usually they're a fun team to watch. So maybe current game excluded, but yeah, they're usually a pretty fun team to watch. So
this is 21-0 in the second half.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising. But overall that's a team that if they get hot, they can do some damage. They got a pretty complete team, offense and defense.
So we've now narrowed 16 teams down to Houston. Who else did we have here? The Rams.
You got San Fran. What did you put? What's your thoughts on San Francisco?
Patriots. It's funny. They're always so close, but they can just never get over the hump. And I think that's something you need to take into account as well.
I agree with you 100%. I am calling them the West Coast Bills because that's what they kind of remind me of. They've got a solid squad. No reason they couldn't do a lot of damage, and somehow they come up short.
And their defense is obviously flawed. And we all know defense wins championships. So we've narrowed that down from 16 teams down to 3.5. I still think Jacksonville has a little something sneaky about them. But we have Jacksonville. Just getting so funny. I had a buddy that literally just texted me and said, this game is so sad, it's going to kill my Stafford for MVP bet. Something else, and another fun thing to bet on. I didn't bet on it. He did, but he's absolutely right. Just wanted to see this play here. Yep, incomplete. They're going to lose this. So now we have Jacksonville plus 1,300, the Texans plus 1,200, the Rams plus 490, and the Patriots, surprisingly, are plus 1,200. If you take a look at the FanDuel betting line here, and it's still 2-1, Edmonton Jets.
Yeah, there's not much time left, but I would love to see a comeback here. So,
this is going to be interesting. I'm going to write these down, keep it in the archive, And if there is anybody listening and you want to dabble in on the brilliance of the research that Andy and I just did, a $10 bet could win you 130, 120, 49, or 120. I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to go back here. Stop sharing. Share again.
By the way, in with my reporter on the side. Did they pull the goalie yet? They pull help. How much time left? Okay, all right. Oh, 9 minutes. My eyes are bad. There's still 9 minutes left. I thought that said 30 seconds. I guess not.
So if you wanted to get a little crazy with what we narrowed this down to, again, as a beginning gambler, you have your Super Bowl winner or Super Bowl matchup.
That's interesting. So you can bet the matchup, and if you hit it, it doesn't matter who wins the game. You're just betting on who's going to be in there playing. I like that.
Yep.
Look at that one, the Ravens and Panthers.
Plus
wow.
550,000.
That's worth just throwing $5-10 on just for the heck of it, just for fun. If you're a Ravens or a Panthers fan, that's great.
So, you know what's interesting? Taking a look at this list, the only NFC team that we agreed could probably come out of the NFC are the Rams.
Well, it's funny you pulled that up though, because of how much it really adjusted. The NFC favorite really adjusted those odds for Baltimore, even though Baltimore's a relative long shot in and of itself. But you saw that go from what it was like when they had them against the Panthers and then against the Rams, how much it went down. That's pretty cool.
So if you were to take the Patriots against the Rams, that would be $220 on a $10 bet.
So you could essentially $10 bet. What was it against the Ravens? Was that 50?
What, Baltimore against the Rams?
No, against the Panthers.
Oh, plus 50,000.
Wow. So would you score what, five grand on a
$10 bet? Yep.
Holy cow.
But you know what's interesting? So if you wanted to do that, instead of putting $10 on that, take that $10. Let me see something here. Because the Panthers got to win on Saturday first to even get there. They're plus 124. So you take that $10, put it on that. You're going to win $12, which you now have $22.40. You roll that over. Take that $22.40 on the Panthers and just pray that Baltimore gets in the Super Bowl as well. Could you imagine you take that risk on Carolina and then Baltimore is the team that?
Well, I mean, it could be either one, but I think that's what's kind of neat about it. You've got two teams that are, it's do or die for them. But then to potentially go from that, ride the hot streak into the Super Bowl. I mean, wow, that'd be amazing.
So let's see here, Andy. So we kind of wrap up this first iteration of episode 1.
And a damn fine job you've done, by the way. I just want to commend you on. This has been fun.
So this is somebody who thinks they know what they're doing, even though I really don't when it comes to sports gambling. It's all luck versus someone newer to this. Let's have a little Dan versus Ann. Short for Andy, not that you're.
That's what you came up with, huh?
I didn't necessarily want to say your last name, which is a better rhyme, but Dan.
Probably would give you permission on that one. But that's okay. We'll give you some creativity points, I suppose.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
so I've got pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so can you see this screen where it says Carolina, Tampa Bay?
Yes, I'm gonna just double check here with my terrible eyes. Okay. Yep.
All right, so we're going to do against the point spread, which what that means, you'll hear the term ATS, against the spread. Again, there's a minus next to that number. That means that team has to win by that many points. If there's a plus next to that number, that means they can't lose by that many. They can win, but they just can't lose by more than 3. You know what's interesting? This was 2.5 on covers when we looked. It's 3 now on FanDuel. So some money's coming back on Tampa Bay. So who do you like in this game, Andrew?
I like Tampa, and I like the over.
Tampa and over. I'm going to go Carolina and over.
Which completely negates my whole Ravens and Panthers theory for the $10. But I do like I think Baker's going to have a good game, and I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring affair.
All right, we now go to another. This isn't necessarily win and in because they're both in, but pivotal for the number 1 seed in the NFC, which is pretty much a big deal here. Seattle on the road favored by 1.5.
You can go first, if you would like. I have my opinion.
I'm going to go with San Fran for the sole reason. Can't trust the quarterback for Seattle. Can't trust him on the road. This is last year written all over it when he was with Minnesota, played Detroit, and he emoji pooped the bed.
I will agree with you on San Fran because San Fran's always strong getting into the playoffs. It's once they get in, they start to show some cracks in the armor. I'm going to go San Fran. I do think it's a high-scoring game. We'll take San Fran in the over.
I am going to differ with you on that one. I'm going to go San Fran and the under. A lot of running in this game. Both defenses going to buckle down.
All right.
The Battle of Ohio, which, my God, this used to be a big deal in the early and mid-'80s. Bernie Kosar.
Versus Kosar versus what was
God. Not Sam Weiss. Who was that?
Who's the guy that he always used to fight with Dan Marino on NFL Live? The old quarterback.
Boomer Esiason.
Boomer Esiason. That's the old Maryland guy. Yeah, I couldn't remember for a second. He's a good quarterback. As much as it pains me to say it, Joe Burrow's a good quarterback. But Myles Garrett, first of all, I hope he has a monster game. I think Sanders is dreadful. So I still think it's going to be under as far as points because that Browns defense is so good. And honestly, Cleveland's offense is garbage, even if the Browns defense can get a bunch of turnovers. So I'm going to go under, but I just don't think Sanders is even close to being on the same level as Burrow when it comes to being able to navigate a win, especially not in Cincinnati. I'm going to go Cincinnati with the under.
Cincinnati and the under. We have the exact same thing as Bijan Robinson is tackled in the backfield, but once again, the Rams don't care. Bijan turns a tackle in the back to about a 20-yard gain. Thank God we hedged that one. Let's see here. Dallas against the Giants.
Yeah, that's the
yawn of the game.
That's the get up and go grab a bite to eat during this one. I don't know. Both teams are pretty bad. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think the Giants want that number 2 or number 3 overall pick. I think they're pretty much going to tank. Dallas is going to want to prove, we ended the year on 2 or 3 wins. We're back next year. Watch out for them boys. I think Dallas rolls in this one. Don't necessarily know the over because why would you keep Dak Prescott out there for an entire game? Why risk getting hurt? I think Dallas in the under.
I can't argue that.
Taking the same.
Take the same.
All right. Green Bay, Minnesota.
That's a good game.
I didn't mean to, but I think I said Minnesota, like people in Minnesota say it.
Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Yeah. You know what? Weather is a non-factor.
Which sucks. I'm hating that about the NFL. All these teams getting these
domes.
Talking about going into domes. It's going to be boring.
But it will increase the scoring a little bit. I'll take Green Bay on the over.
I'm going to go the Vikings and the over. You're going Green Bay and the over?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Colts, Texans. Which, again, thinking about this, do the Texans have anything to play for? And I believe they do. I think they got a shot at the division. I'm just going to check the standings here.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They're a game behind Jacksonville.
So, and that's a winnable game for them.
Yeah.
So, especially being at home, little pop-ups.
10.5. Woo!
Yeah, it's a
big number.
I'll take it though.
You're taking Houston?
Yeah, I'll take Houston.
And I'm not going to touch the over-under on that. Here's another little pivotal thing. This is going to come into play with the Eagles game, which I'll get to that when we get to that. But Houston and Jacksonville playing at the same time, so they will be keeping their foot on the gas pedal. You know what? I'm going to go Houston. Tennessee, Jacksonville. Basically, exact same scenario as Houston.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville wins this game, and I'll take the under on this one.
Jacks and under. You know what? I'm right there with you. It's funny, on the ones we agree with and we don't discuss much, somehow it will be Tennessee and the over. Kansas City against the Raiders, another putrid game. I can't see the Raiders tanking like they did yesterday to then try to come out and win on Sunday. I think Kansas City's,
they should win this game. The only fun thing about this game is it's in Las Vegas. I'll take Kansas City in the over on this one.
I'm going to go KC in the under. You're going KC and the over. Detroit versus the Bears.
Here's another team that should have been better than they were.
You know what? I stand corrected. The NFL did it right. And here's what I was referring to. So the Eagles right now are the 3 seed. They could be the 2 seed if the Bears lose and the Eagles win. I thought the Bears played at 1 o'clock, and I was going to say the Eagles, that will determine if they play anybody or not. But I think they both have to play everybody because of playing for that 2 seed.
So what are your thoughts then now? Chicago and the 8-8 Lions.
I think Dan Campbell's days are numbered. He did enough to take a bad franchise and get him relevant, but he's not good enough to get him relevant to great. I think the Bears win probably 27-17. I'm going to say the Bears in the under.
All right. I'll take that. I think that's a safe bet. Speaking of Campbell, though, here's a quick question for you.
Yep. Chunky.
Yeah.
Chicken noodle.
Campbell, does he have a gig next year in Detroit?
Yeah. If I were the owner, no. I think they'll give him one more shot. And I think your boy in Baltimore becomes the Giants head coach.
Well, I was going to say, if Harbaugh sneaks in next week, maybe he sticks around, but there's a good chance that he could go. If Baltimore does get in, actually, if Baltimore gets in and even gets bounced in the first round, there's still a chance Harbs could go because I don't think Bisciotti's as loyal. Tomlin, does he have a job next year in Pittsburgh if he doesn't make the playoffs this year?
I don't think so.
So, do you see a landing spot in the coaching carousel with those three of taking over for any of the others? Could you see a Campbell in Baltimore? I think he'd be a good fit here. I think he'd be a good fit in Pittsburgh. And I could see someone like Tomlin easily fitting in a place like Detroit or even a Harbaugh to that extent. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Detroit needs discipline. They keep losing these games because Dan Campbell keeps doing these idiotic, like, 4th and 3 on their own 30. Let's go for it.
That's a lot more Harbaugh style. I think Tomlin would come in and he wouldn't put up with that nonsense. I think that's the kind of guy. That's the problem with Baltimore right now is we haven't had a coach since Belichick. I'm sorry, not Belichick. Brian Billick, who was able to control a group of Hall of Famers when you had, Ray Lewis and you had, Tony Siragusa and you had all these Peter Bowler, all these guys with these big personalities. He could handle them. I don't think that Harbaugh can do that. And that's what I think Campbell's kind of the same way. But I do think Campbell will be fine in Baltimore. I think he fits this gritty mold here in Baltimore. But Tomlin, I think, would be a perfect fit in Detroit. So,
and I mean, Lamar Jackson, when he's healthy, you can take those risks. There's 4th and 3 because he could just scramble and go for it. Jared Goff isn't going to do that.
I think Lamar's the best talent right now in the league. It just, when the lights are bright, he has somehow found ways to turn the ball over in the worst of situations, and it's just kind of killing his legacy right now here in Baltimore. He's got to win the big one if he's going to take over the Elite Dragon. So
now, did you hear that story about the that report that came out that Harbaugh and Lamar like fighting with each other, and Lamar's like a big kid. He plays video games to all hours, and they have to move the practice back later in the afternoon.
I did. Here's the ironic part about that. So the beat writer who wrote that is from the Baltimore Sun, and he's a big fan of Lamar Jackson. So the fact that he wrote that, there's a part of me that believes that wasn't so much to dig at Lamar as much as it was saying Harbaugh can't control his team, including Lamar. And it's a way of getting Harbaugh out the door. It's just one more little kind of kick to say to Bisciotti, hey, guess what? Time to move on. That's my thought process, almost a backwards way of continuing to throw shade at Harbaugh. Lamar's not going anywhere. You're not going to get – and I mean, I know there's rumors of the Dolphins and stuff like that, but that's not happening. So did we just lose? Or just lose? I think so. Bummers.
Yeah, and you know what? I just looked at that score and saw it was 3-1. Great little tidbit for betting. Never take a team in the NHL plus a goal and a half. Because if they're losing, they're going to pull the goalie, and so many times that empty net goal kills you.
Yep. That's true too. It
can be 2-1 for
the whole game.
2.5 periods. That final 3 minutes, they pull the goalie, bam. So frustrating.
All right, Kemosabe, what's the next game?
All right, Chargers, Broncos. Broncos at home, fighting for that number 1 seed. The Chargers came out today and said they are resting everybody. No Herbert, no running backs, no wide receivers.
Must-win game. Denver gets in. I could go either way on the over-under on that one.
Yeah, I'm just going to take Denver. Not going to touch the over-under. Miami, New England. Likewise, New England has to win to keep that number 1 seed.
Yeah, and they'll take care of business against Miami, who's notoriously bad and cold anyway. So,
yeah, right there with you on that one. I'm not going to touch that over-under.
Yeah.
Washington Eagles -7.5.
Eagles are going to cruise in this one. Washington's on their 18th string quarterback. I'll just go ahead and take Philadelphia in this one in a roll.
I am going to go against you Going with those Commanders. Philly's offense is broken. Eagles will win, but notorious Commanders, Redskins, Eagles games are always like 3, 4, 5.
Their backups also hurt. Who's the third stringer now for starting for Washington?
Josh Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have a little faith in your home team there. I don't think it's going to be as close as you think.
Oh, 24-10 Rams if he kicks this extra. Falcons. Rams has scored a touchdown. I say that, and he just squeaked the extra point in. Jets, Bills.
Buffalo's. I think Buffalo will take care of business pretty easy.
So yeah, the Jets have checked out. So funny little story. There's all kinds of props you can bet in the NFL. Like, will the team have an interception? Will they have a fumble recovery? Yada yada yada. The Jets have not gotten an interception this year. If you would have started with $100 in week 1, under a half interception for the team, for the Jets, and rolled that over every week, going into this week, you would be up $1.6 million.
Holy cow.
I mean, who's going to think that? But isn't that just crazy?
That is crazy.
And then,
all right,
through to your heart. Ravens, Steelers. Now, remember, it's not just who's going to win. Are they going to win by 3.5?
First and foremost, every single game is close when these two play. Throw records out the window. They're always close. And that half point is a big deal here, too. It's a very big deal. Usually it's going to be within 3 points. It usually comes down to the last play. I really, if I've ever been split on a game in my life, it's this one, because I think that if we do keep Rodgers off the field, which we have to because our defense is not great, and we run the ball and just wear them out with Derrick Henry. He touched the ball 36 times last week. That he has to do that again this week. But the nice thing is, if Lamar is back, which he should be, and he's using Henry and Flowers and spreading the ball around properly, they could really hurt a subpar Pittsburgh defense. The question is which Aaron Rodgers shows up and how good's he going to be. And
there's no DK Metcalf again because of the suspension.
Mm-hmm. I do think Baltimore should win this game, and I want them to, but I'd go Ravens on this under, because I think it's a low-scoring game.
You're going Ravens and under.
You'll have to send me all these, Dan, so I can see next week how bad it is when we pull these up, how how much I was on or off.
I'm going to go Steelers and under. Ravens win 17-14. Now,
this team scored 10 points against the Browns last week, so we'll see what happens.
Let's say you had a dose of beginner's luck and got every one of your bets right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just see what that would tally out to. Tampa Bay, the over. San Francisco, the over. All on a parlay, which would never. I mean, could you imagine?
Oh, I like it, but go ahead. Let's just see it just for fun.
Dallas, and look at that number on the right just accumulate. Green Bay and the over. Houston. Jacksonville and the under. Kansas City and the over. Who's that? The Bears and the under. Good Lord. You might not even be able to place this bet. Denver.
Here's a rookie question. Is there a limit to how far you can take it?
Yep. So with a lot of like the NBA, because of all these scandals that have occurred, they broached a deal with all the sports books that proposition bets on players have a limit of $200. I do not believe you can parlay them, and it's a $200 a bet max.
Oh, okay.
And likewise, baseball has done the same thing. because of all that, like Class A and all those guys with those, which how much I love, the hobby of sports gambling and all that. They're called micro bets where, next pitch, next play in a football game. I don't think that stuff's necessary. There's enough you can bet on that's just feeding degenerates.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Because for anybody who does it just for fun once or twice every now and then, there's probably someone doing that 24/7.
Ravens and the
And
under. Ha! Max win. The max you could win would be $1 million. So it wouldn't let you place this $10 bet to win 14,104,498.
wow, my gosh. Put $5 in. Just for fun.
Well, now you're guaranteed to hit. 7 million.
That's insane.
What would it have to be? $1, or what would the math be? Under $1, right? Like 75 cents.
So
73.
No,
71. Dude, this is like a Price is Right game.
70 cents.
70 cents. 71 is too much. 70 lets you do it.
Just send that to me. I'm just going to do it for fun. I mean, why not? Why not for 70 cents?
Dude, could you imagine if it hit?
That'd be insane.
Let me go to stop share here.
That would be so funny.
Where is the stop share? Just when I thought I was getting this all removed.
There you go. Well done, Daniel. Well done.
All right. Get your alrighty. Well, everyone, if you're still on there, if you weren't bored out of your mind, I hope you learned something. I hope you had some fun. Andy, thank you for walking me through this.
Thank you for the education. I hope to be able to join you again sometime. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it will be nice next Monday to kind of recalibrate and see what we ended up with here. Alrighty.
All right, my friend.
All right, have a good night, everyone. Have a good night. Click like and subscribe.
Happy New Year, everybody. Dan, Happy New Year, brother.
Yep, Happy New Year to you and everyone out there. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Just click end.
End stream. End.